Guys, Ruben Amorim sends clear indications in public and in private for Manchester United in the January transfer window. Because in private, the conversations have started between Ruben Amorim, the board, the management of Manchester United ahead of the January window. I told you about the midfielder, I told you that Manchester United are looking for that position, but just in general, Amorim and the management of Man United are talking about the January window, the opportunities and what to do with the players who want to play more. Kobbie Mainoo, Joshua Zirkzee. For Zirkzee, there is West Ham, and also Roma have called in the recent weeks. So Zirkzee will be an opportunity for several clubs, and we have to see what Manchester United want to do, if they want to let him go or not, same for Kobbie Mainoo. But Ruben Amorim sends a clear message, also in public, talking about January. First of all, he says the window will be open and there is the possibility we do something, so not closing the doors to the opportunity to bring in new players, and it's already an update for Manchester United. But also he says, I don't want players for the short term. So Ruben Amorim is not in for bringing in a player for just a few months. A player will join Manchester United if they believe the player could be an option for the long term. So they don't want to add a player just in terms of number, also because Man United have one competition this season, plus the FA Cup incoming, and so they want to focus on the Premier League, and they already have several players. So if someone joins in January, he's a player who Man United can trust for the present, but also for the future. This is the message of Ruben Amorim. Let's not add players who can help for a few games and then they go back to their club. Let's add someone who can help us today and tomorrow. So this is the message of the coach, and this will be the idea also for the January transfer window. So Manchester United for sure want to watch in January with players requesting to have an opportunity on loan, Kobbie Mainoo, Zirkzee, with Man United expected to decide on them, and then with eventual new additions. To stay in the Premier League, guys, Moises Caicedo.
Just on United now, the Sunday Telegraph says Diallo wonder strike rescues a point to reward Amorim faith. There was not a fourth consecutive Premier League victory for Amorim to mark his first anniversary. We shouldn't forget 1 year yesterday when he got appointed. But there was progress of a kind. This was the first point United had claimed from falling behind since the game away to Bournemouth in late April. So with 3 steps forward, you could say. Carl, what does yesterday's draw represent? Half a step back or just staying where they were?
Maybe you've dented morale, but it's not been derailed entirely. Amorim in his post-match press conference said that the team had the feeling of maybe they couldn't win the game, but they definitely knew how to not lose the game. And he was asked about if this was played last season, do you think you would have lost? And I think that's a fair assessment of this Manchester United team. They are still prone to the same weaknesses and fragilities that we've seen, not just under Amorim last season, but also under Ten Hag. So when they are prone to conceding punches and bunches, to use the old verbiage. So it's not, they don't just concede 1 goal, but they can concede 2 or 3 in 5 minutes. So they go from 1-0 up to 2-1 down in the space of, I want to say 5 minutes in the start of the second half. But the good thing now is, through this sort of newly refurbished attacking line and a team that is getting more acclimatized to what Amorim wants, they are finding ways to score extra goals. So, the attack is good enough to bail out any mistakes the defence makes, shall we say.
Dom, depending on what happens to Manchester United on a certain weekend in the Premier League, it's either Amorim in crisis or Manchester United and Amorim.
New Leicester City. Jeremy Monga update emerges as Man United and Man City plot moves. Man City and Man United are both eyeing a deal to sign Jeremy Monga from Leicester City. Leicester City are hoping to convince Jeremy Monga to turn down interest from Manchester United and Manchester City to agree a pro deal with the club, according to Football Insider. The 16-year-old is already attracting major interest from top clubs in the Premier League. However, he has yet to put pen to paper on his first professional contract, which he can't officially sign until he turns 17. The winger has made a promising start to the season with the Foxes, proving a key figure under Martí Cifuentes. Monga has featured 11 times from Leicester's opening 13 championship fixtures, contributing 1 goal and 1 assist. Leicester's plan to keep Jeremy Monga. It has been claimed that Leicester are hoping that a greater pathway to first-team football can be enough to convince Monga to turn down Premier League interest. It has previously been reported that the player could be available for around £2 million if his possible move away from the Foxes goes to an independent tribunal. It's understood that both Manchester clubs are interested in the forward, with other sides expected to also show an interest if he does become available. Leicester can still tie him down to a professional contract themselves, with his 17th birthday not coming until July of next year, giving them a lot of time to convince him to stay. No decision has yet been made over his future, but he has proven himself already as an important part of the first-team squad this season. However, the team's underwhelming form under Cifuentes in recent weeks has put the Spaniard's position at the club in some jeopardy. Leicester are targeting promotion back to the Premier League this campaign, but currently sit 14th in the table after 13 games played. Next up for the Foxes is a home clash against Middlesbrough on Tuesday evening in a 7:45 p.m. kick-off. Jeremy Monga's transfer interest should be no surprise for Leicester. Monga has started 5 of his 11 appearances, and the fact he's played this much at all at just 16 shows how highly they think of him. But that was always going to garner some interest in the transfer market, and the Foxes will have their work cut out for them in order to convince him to stay. Failure to gain promotion to the Premier League could make matters even trickier, as the opportunity to step up to the top flight will be extremely tempting next summer. Manchester United have been extremely active when it comes to academy recruitment under Ineos. More could be on the way if Football Insider is to be believed. The Red Devils have their eye on Leicester City wonderkid Jeremy Monga. The Englishman can play as a left-sided forward and as a left midfielder, and he created history last season for the Foxes when he came on for his first-team debut against Newcastle. In the process, the Leicester Academy ace, who was 15 years and 271 days at the time, became the second youngest debutant in Premier League history. Jeremy Monga race heating up since then. Multiple top-flight clubs have been chasing his signature, with Manchester City coming very close to agreeing a deal with him in the summer. But the England U19 international chose to sign scholarship terms with the Foxes, and he has been a regular for the club in the Championship this term. The team have continued to suffer under Martí Cifuentes, and as per Football Insider, it won't be long until the 16-year-old decides to jump ship. He is yet to sign a professional deal, which means he can leave for a nominal compensation fee in the summer, and Pep Guardiola will want his club to win the race. However, the report states the Red Devils are hopeful they can beat their noisy neighbors to the punch. Leicester City gem Jeremy Monga, aged just 16, is the latest young star on the Red Devils' radar as they continue plans to build their squad for the future. United hopeful of winning the race. Manchester City were very close to signing him in the summer before he ended up agreeing scholarship terms with Leicester. There still is the doubt at Leicester that he could leave because he hasn't signed a professional contract yet, which he can't do until he turns 17. United have joined England's biggest clubs in their pursuit of the teenager, and hope they can beat their rivals to his signature should he be tempted to leave Leicester. Should an immediate return to the Premier League not transpire, Jeremy Monga is unlikely to be playing at the King Power Stadium next season.